Today we're gonna make arancini, which are deep fried balls of risotto that are stuffed with mozzarella that get all gooey as they fry. So to get started with the arancini, you first have to make risotto. And I imagine this recipe probably came about because someone had leftover risotto. Risotto doesn't reheat that well. So what you can do when it's cold, much like polenta, is you can shape it and fry it. But if you want to make enough arancini to feed a crowd, you need to make a big batch of risotto. Now here I have saffron risotto, which is my favorite kind. And I made it and I chilled it overnight so that we can use it today to make arancini. So using some vegetable oil spray, this is a 1/2 cup measure. This is not wimpy little bites of arancini. This is the real deal. They're nice and sizable. So going into the chilled risotto, you can see those starches have set up, so it's really malleable. You're gonna use a 1/2 cup measure. You can grease your hands or you can wet your hands. So you wanna make a patty, about 3 inches, and you wanna compact it. You really wanna get all the air out of that risotto. That just helps it hold together as it fries. Now to fill it with cheese. You can fill it with all sorts of kinds of cheese. Fontino works well, even provolone. I love using straight up mozzarella. So you put 3 pieces of the cheese right in the center, and now you just wanna mold the risotto around the cheese. So you want the cheese to be in the center. There you go, and this is actually pretty easy. And then what I like to do is just compact it with my hands, make it nice and round. All right, there you go. Time to make more. This whole batch should make about 14 or so. More importantly, you want them to be the same size so that they fry at the same rate and that cheese gets good and melty. I've had these where they're really small bite size, sort of cocktail size. I see that sometimes in restaurants, and that's lovely. You can obviously make these smaller and use 1 piece of cheese if you want. But I really appreciate this nice sizable arancini, and I think it's probably more traditional. Now the thing about this, it does take a little time to assemble all these arancini, but you can easily do them ahead of time. They'll hold in the fridge for at least 24 hours, or you can freeze them. All the arancini have been shaped. It's time to coat them with breadcrumbs. First, you roll them in a little beaten egg, and then you roll them in breadcrumbs. Now these breadcrumbs have been processed to a nice fine consistency and tossed with a few seasonings like parsley and some cayenne to add a little flavor. All right, have the last few balls to bread here. As you can see, I've really taken my time making sure they're nice and evenly coated. This is not a rush job. This is a weekend thing. Get the whole family involved, get the kids involved. I mean, it's kind of like playing in the kitchen. Just enough breadcrumbs. I love it when there's just enough breadcrumbs to do the last risotto ball, but you don't have a lot left over. All right, there's that last one, as good as the first. Now time to clean up and heat up the oil so we can get frying. Now I have 2 inches of vegetable oil that's been heating up, and you want it to register 375 degrees. Now that oil temperature is gonna drop as you add the arancini. We're gonna fry them in batches, about 5 per batch. Adding them gently to the oil to prevent any splattering. Now you want these to cook for about 5 minutes because that's enough time for the heat to get to the center of the arancini and melt the cheese. And you don't want the oil to get too hot or else they'll get too brown before that happens. So look for the oil to be 350 and adjust the heat or turn it off as you need to. It's been 5 minutes. I've been stirring them gently as they cook just to make sure they brown evenly. Oh, picture perfect. And you can see that little bit of cheese coming out the side. That's good because that means it's melted in the middle. So now we're gonna put them on a paper towel lined tray, let them cool a bit. Let's bring that oil back to 375 degrees and we can fry the rest of them. Oh, picture perfect. Aren't they gorgeous? Still nice and warm. And because we were careful about that frying temperature, the first batch, this mozzarella is still gonna be nice and melted. All right, onto a nice big platter. I like serving these just with lemon wedges because we spent the time and money to make saffron risotto, but you could also serve it with a marinara sauce. That's lovely too. This at a party, absolute rock star status. I mean, that's just cool. If people showed up at your house, you're like, oh, here, have some homemade arancini. All right, time to cut one open. A lemon wedge. Oh, hello. That is just what you want. The lemon. Give the saffron, the mozzarella in that crust. nice and crisp, and it has that even color and texture because the crumbs were processed. And if you think about it, it's just rice with mozzarella that's been deep fried, so it really appeals to everybody. And it's the perfect starter for an Italian-style family meal. Thanks for watching. What'd you think? Leave a comment below and let me know what you're excited to cook this week. You can get today's recipes and more for free at our website.